Welcome back to Power Breakfast here on Citizen TV. Once again, I am sitting in on Willie Samburu's man cave. Just a fly on the wall here, guys. I'm just here to moderate. I'll try not to share too many of my opinions. But of course, it's great to be here. The hashtag to use is Power Breakfast if you, want to comment on anything that we're talking about today. We've got the full panel here this morning. Pastor Kuria, Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Sheila Kwamboka is back. How was your birthday?
It was great.
Yeah?
It was great.
Good stuff. And of course, Mr. Roy Karuhize.
Like when you ask her how's her birthday, she doesn't know which one you're talking about. She's more than one. The fake one and the other one, the financial one.
We'll assume that was the real one. This morning we want to talk about, space and how much space is enough space and what happens when couples work together. President of France.
Macron.
Okay, so pick whichever one of those pronunciations works.
And his wife is called the wife.
And the wife is called his wife because she has a difficult name to pronounce as well. Of course, the 24-year age difference has been what a lot of people have been talking about, the fact that she's much older than him. But they've been, working together for all these years. Successfully. He's become president of France because that woman is behind him, showing him the way and...
You know what you can say, Pastor, I like you to just... Do you know what the gap between this marriage is?
24.
24 years, she baked her own cake. From scratch. She baked her husband.
She baked her husband.
Yeah.
Left the one she had.
But
you see,
she's been made, that's a cake.
There are things Roy cannot work in Africa.
Yeah.
Like age difference. We look at age a different angle. Because if we are, the difference between us is more than 10, I think priority changes.
Yeah. They even completely changes.
Yeah, because now if at my time we are dancing kung fu. Now I get married to her. She's dancing the, what do you call it? Basokiso.
Basokiso.
His tongue nearly came out.
Yeah, basokiso. I'm a kung fu guy. We can't match well. But in this idea of working together, I don't think there is any problem working together if the company is ours.
You know, when we're saying working together, the thing is with her is that he was her student, right? So practically it's like they were in the same company for like 30-something years. This is her product. This is something she's worked with. In terms of she created him, she shaped him.
Yeah,
so
contributed very highly to his success.
Yes, and
I hear he's not allowed to eat chocolate. Just small things.
Look at how healthy a president he is. I mean, everybody needs a woman like this. But
it doesn't work in modern relationships.
Just bringing it back. This is as modern as it gets. Just bring it back and keep in mind he has just won the president of France against all odds. You know what I mean?
They had no choice. They were choosing between the good, the bad, and the ugly.
They had choices. Just bringing it back to what Pastor said. Pastor is like, this is a relationship that can't work in Africa, and I'm like, it's so interesting when it's the woman who's, the guy who's gone for an older woman. If this guy had, a 20-something or 15-year-old girl, nobody would even be batting an eyelid. And these relationships have worked before. We've had a high-profile relationship like this of, I think she was called, what was that lady's name? And she had this...
That's why we forgot her, because she did that.
Wanjiro or something like that, and she had this really young Bogwa. That worked out. That worked out fine. So I think at the end of the day, when it comes to relationships, it's what you're exposing yourself to. If something is working for you, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter about the age.
She's running away from the topic. I mean, the fact is, for us guys, what we're considering is the fact that probably she's worked on this guy, worked with this guy for that number of years, right? And it just brought to mind the whole issue of guys and you and your woman being involved in something together for a long period of time, and whether it's beneficial or not. For today's modern life, it's all about the hustle, right? It's all about what you're creating. There's no us. There's always there's me, the individual. Look at what I have done with what I had, and it's very hard to make that hustle story when we did it together and to gain that respect of this is what we created, this is what I made myself become. Because a lot of respect is given to men. I'm just saying from a man's point of view, that a lot of respect is given to men today based on what they have managed to do with what they have. But if you guys build it together, it's very hard for her to look up to you that same sort of recognition. So I think it's better for you guys to go separate ways, create your own, not kingdoms, your own identities, and come and respect that, you know what, you did that, or you made that, or that's what you're trying to do to yourself, rather than us.
Don't you think when couples work together, there's this idea of problem sharing, whereby the burden is not just on me.
Yes.
I can tell my husband or my spouse or my partner this is going on, and then there's less.
Yeah, but
I'm looking at it on another angle. When I got married, personally, I got married in 1984, and from 1984 up to this minute, we are in the same company called Home.
Good point.
And we have never separated. But sometimes we crash, although the neighbors does not hear the voice.
Oh, your walls are very good.
Yeah, my walls are very good. Yeah, but I'm looking at it now. When we are working in a company where we are earning now, we are earning money, because when now the issue of money comes in, it's not the same as home. So I think personally, I think it's good for us to separate and everybody go for.
There are a lot of couples that work together. Look, at the end of the day, you're all just trying to build something together. And if you have a partner if you work in the same field, for example, you're in TV together and you want to set up a production company together, it makes sense to work together because you know each other's strengths, you know how to lift each other, and you're working towards the same goal. So I think, and I'm a product of parents who work together their whole entire life and then would come home together and would always be together. These are friends. If you're not friends with the person that you're in a relationship with, chances are you don't even want to see them. You just need to look at couples in traffic in the morning, and they can't even walk each other to the office.
But it's going to be dry. It doesn't work for today. Today is a very competitive world. We celebrate that competition. That's what we enjoy. What are you doing? How was your day? Versus how was mine? But when we all have the same common channel, it's so dry. Guys, potatoes cooked in 7 different ways are still potatoes. It's going to be as dry as hell.
Even if these guys are not talking in traffic, they're still commuting together and saving on gas.
Yeah.
So we have to look at the economical benefits.
Beautiful, boring relationship.
Yeah, but I don't know why Roy is assuming that working together is boring. You're making that assumption because you're thinking, oh my God, if I see her one more time in my workplace, I can't be able to deal with it. But at the end of the day,
nothing to exchange.
Look, at the end of the day, when you're working together, that's when you're at your best. Especially when you're at your work, that's when you're shining, that's when you're at your best. Now imagine you're with the person who knows you the best. They can be able to push you to be better. So I'm always like, if you can be able to work in the same field with the person that you're seeing and it works for you, do it.
Let me support Kwamboka kidogo.
You see what happens? Guys have been bribed before the election.
Yeah, look here. If you are going to be successful when you are working together, it's only when you are friends. But if you are just co-partners in any other way, there is no friendship between you, the togetherness cannot work.
Yeah.
Because even the guys around you will be saying, hey, huyu jamaa amekaliwa na bibi. And sometimes unasikia when you're just passing. Sometimes you give a bright eye, a deaf ear to some talks. But when you 1, 2, 3, 4 days, somebody telling you that, hey, huyu jamaa amekaliwa. Ama anaongea hapa niko pande ile, huyu jamaa wa hii bosi yetu amekaliwa na mke wake. If my wife is not my friend, then the time that I'll live with her in that working place will be the boring time in my life.
Well, let's put it into this scenario that it's not that you guys are just doing biashara together. You're both employed by the same company. Let's make that assumption for now. Don't you think the issue of jealousy comes up as well, because it's a job seeing you interacting with other co-workers, and what happens then? Let
me tell you something I think I'd actually like to in some way support the point you didn't make. In them working together, there is safety in the business. There are no risks. There's a lot of safety in that, because the assurance of she will build me, I'll build her, and she'll make sure she'll put controls on the guy, because it's usually the guy who takes the risks. The disadvantage of that is because now there's a control of the risk taker, the business doesn't have that verb to expand or explode. So what you'll have is actually a very safe business, where it will actually grow like a maturing tortoise. To just keep going pole ndio mwendo, old style, right? But it will never move excitedly or frantically and escalate itself as a business, which is what businesses are today, because there'll be the chick always controlling the guy. So that safety net is there. But when they were separate, you see, you take chances, do things. There'll be that lack of caution when they have all suspicion of who he's with, what he's doing, what decisions he's making. That control has been removed. So everyone is going at their own speed, own tempo, own life. There's much more excitement, guys. In today's world, that's what works. Those things were cooperative kind of things where we're coming together. It's a cooperative. You're coming together to push the cow to mud.
There is a song by, there is a song sung by Cherry Parade. And Cherry Parade sang this song.
Cherry Parade alive?
Yeah. No, I don't think he's alive.
He died once or twice.
Guys.
I don't. He's old. But there is a song he sang and said that everybody needs time alone.
Thank you.
You see, it will be so much boring when I see my wife playing around with other people. But she can do the same thing because she needs friends out there when I'm not there. And when she comes home now, she is mine and mine alone.
It makes it more special.
It makes it more special, you know.
Yeah.
Than when I see her or she see me looking at that lady who is serving me in the office all the time, and the lady is singing some good songs. You are my bread when I'm hungry.
Wow.
You're my shelter from trouble range. I'm just looking at her like that. And my wife is there now looking at me like, excuse me, what are you doing? You see, sometimes it does not augur well.
Let me ask you, honestly, like, I mean, guys, I mean, we always have this conversation where, you know, you're being tempted in the office, you're bored, you know, and I'm like, look at it like this. Family-run businesses, aren't they like the most successful businesses?
Who's arguing against that?
Yeah. So when it comes to couples working together, it brings out the best in you. You have to find the balance. We're not telling you work together, drive home together. Look, there are couples who actually say, listen, when I leave the house, we are now separate individuals. So I drive to the office by myself. If you want to couple, great. But like when you look at it like in terms of, okay, you're done with work, you have friends. Go hang out with your friends. Let me go hang out with my friends. And let's meet in the house. I just feel like it strengthens our relationship.
When we talk about you know, successful businesses and
she said the most successful are run by couples.
Family, yeah. But don't you think someone can also argue that your wife knows you the best? She is the best manager of you, your ideas.
I think we are mixing two things here.
Wait, yeah.
Okay. We are mixing two things here. We are talking of being employed or having our business. When we have our business, it's different idea. Not the same way when we are employed.
Okay. Why?
Really the same.
Why?
It's not the same.
Why?
That is our business. Our business. We are earning our money there. Here we are employed. This is somebody else's business. He has employed other people.
Money
together.
It's about you.
Look here. He has employed other people. Like now, my wife has a good shape, and she's beautiful. That one I know. But I'll feel jealous when Roy is just looking at her like this for 15 minutes. As a man, I'll be jealous. But when Roy will look my wife, when I'm not there, I don't mind. Yeah. This is the reason I'm saying, if it's business, our business, it's okay, we can work together. But when we are employed together, there is a lot of risks.
Okay, let's forget employment. Let's forgive that one.
But even in your business, you're still meeting people.
Yeah, she's going to interact
dealing with clients.
Unless she's in the back room there just interacting.
Unless she's just your secretary.
You see, when people are coming to our business because of my wife's beauty, it's for my benefit.
Oh.
So I don't mind about it.
Okay, let's okay, we'll put it on. Okay, let him play it safe, and we talk about just running the business together, right? Let's keep it at that. But first, I'd like to argue with what Sheila just said now, that first of all, that the most successful businesses are run by
some of the most successful.
You say, now I like the word "some" has come in, Umeongeza. There's no for after. Okay, but we'll accept that. The most successful businesses are run by also individuals. I'm saying in today's environment, which is a career environment, right? The relationship is driven by the fact that we have different careers, people chasing different entrepreneurial interests, doing different things, is what keeps a lot of stuff alive. Because remember, talk on career, right? Career is what is making the biggest topic in terms of what we're doing, what you're doing. That's where our exchange is. A while back, people would talk about, it was not about competitive careers and stuff like that. But that's what the topic is. That's what the story is. Have you seen the biashara whoever is doing? Have you seen the motis driving? Have you seen what whoever did? Have you seen how much money whoever lost? It's always about that. Now, if we have the common career, then you kill all that. And that's what the story is today. Right? There'll be no story to you. There'll be nothing left to talk about or discuss. I'm still trying to look at what's going to be the story when we get home.
And that's the other thing, is that you take your work home with you. So is that what you're saying? That there's nothing
what are we going to discuss? Because that's what people discuss today. Right? In our parents' time, work was not discussed. It was not a big thing working together. It was not discussed. They would discuss other things. But today, half of the time I look at 80% of what you talk about. It's about careers, businesses people are running, what they're doing with their businesses, the jump starts they're getting. That's what you discuss 80% of the time. So now if we're doing the same thing, then what are we going to talk about?
Maybe there's a benefit, though. Maybe if you're talking about it at home, your business is also, you know.
But you see, it's not good for us to take our office from office and take it home. Because now home and office are two different things.
Okay, so would it be okay for you to carry your work stuff to the house?
No, it's not good. But when we are working together, I think that's what we are going to discuss in the house.
And you don't think your business will grow because now you're discussing it at work, you're discussing it at home.
Oh, Christ. But your relationship will die, the business will grow.
But we are going to a lot of money.
Relationship will completely die. I'm just trying to say there's going to be no life in that relationship. In today's environment, Sheila, fact remains, we're doing the same thing, we're seated there, there's no exchange, there's nothing to share and exchange. Conflict is what builds interest.
Wow.
If I'm seeing you, I'm telling you, if I'm seeing you from morning till evening, in today's environment, surely.
You know,
surely.
It's so interesting.
I know Sheila is saying that. I'm saying, Uchi, if you picture yourself saying, I'm not saying that he's boring seeing the whole day, but it gives you that much more excitement to have something to exchange in the evening. Because 80% of what you'll be discussing in the evening, in today's environment, is you're singing and guys on their biashara. That's what you're doing the whole evening. Now where are you guys going to sing? You're the guys who are doing the business together. It's not to sing.
You know, just bring it back to that whole Macron and his bay.
They've run out of things to talk about.
Let me tell you something. We could sit here and describe every single relationship out there, but at the end of the day, I'll just bring it back to, if you're not friends with the person that you're in a relationship with, then you have issues like, oh, what are we going to discuss? We're going to be bored. I grew up with parents who worked during the day and came home in the evening together, and they chill, and they're still best of friends. Like when you see them hanging together, like it's ridiculous. And I know Roy wants to jump in and say, oh, that was that era.
We're different animals.
Look, they had friends, sisters, partners who didn't want, and co-workers who'd look at them and be like, how are you guys doing this? So I'm not saying this is a norm for everyone. I'm just saying it makes sense. You get to know the person, you get to understand them, and because you know them, then you inspire them to be better because you understand what it is that they're doing.
I think there's also a difference between, you know, did these two people meet on the job, or did they come in with a prior sort of stable relationship already that they were just
transferring onto the work?
Yeah.
I don't fight people working together, but what I'm trying to say is, God forbid. God forbid.
That should ever happen.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
it's very dangerous.
You know, all respect, Joey, to all relationships. I'm saying all respect, and I'm not challenging that. I'm just saying the reality is, at that time, let's just say this: people were easily satisfied. And if I'm sitting with the two ladies who are sitting with us here, and I'm not talking about you, in those two I'm talking about, the two ladies who are sitting here, I know are not easily satisfied because that's not the kind of people we are today. We're not easily satisfied. So that's why I'm saying, if you keep things where it's simple and based on nothing is ambitious, nothing is driven, and it's all about let's sit home and be comfortable and smile and read books together and have rocking chairs, and switch off the TV and pick our stories back at Johnny. That's not the people you are today. Today you guys are driven by exciting, new and refreshing things. And the day you guys sit in that office with that guy from morning till evening, the same Sheila here, who is easily moving from one club to the other because he's like, this was become boring now. It ain't happening.
You know what,
would be the same person complaining because she's not the same animal her mother was. Her mother could sit for 7 hours and watch the same program on repeat. She can't do that.
All right. You know, I think you've noticed.
There's no spice to life for that.
What is actually happening right now is, of course, the guys will say no, they don't want to work with their spouses. Because when you're with your spouse, like Pastor just said, You can't even bat an eyelid and look at the other woman. You understand?
You're under surveillance.
Exactly. That is the only reason we're having this conversation. Because let's be real. Yeah. You see, you're saying it will be boring. If I break it down, what is boring? I won't be able to use my eyes. I won't be able to. Or not all my senses are working because I already have something there. So life is boring. You're in my office. You're at my. Oh my God, why are you doing this to me? But look, ladies, us guys, we're okay with that. Working with the husband, it's no problem. In fact, I can keep an eye on you. Those finances you want to run to the bar after work, I got you. Yeah. You're worried. You're concerned that if she comes to your work environment, your larger than life persona, your godlike, you know, fear of, you know, those fathers who walk into the house and he just removes his shoes and puts that gazette in front of him and nobody can talk to him. If you could actually see what he does in the office, then it removes that facade of how great he is. You understand? So he likes to protect his workspace like that, and that's the only reason why the two guys here are still saying, yeah, no, we don't want to work with our.
No, it's not being chunguliwa. The only point you got, right, it's not that you're being chunguliwa by some watchie. She's not becoming a watchman and coming to the office to chunga you. That's not what I'm worried about. What you're saying is a point you've just mentioned by chance. Is that what I'm worried about is she will reduce me from that larger than life guy, from that ambitious guy who's driven, to this comfortable guy who goes with a plan. And say, let's just sit here, discuss a safe plan around a hot, nice fire, and say, this is what we're going to do. Yes, and let's move like that.
You feel like you have to constantly consult.
Because the world today is all about ambition and people who are driven. Everyone who's expanding and living themselves to the fullest. That's what the world has changed into. It's exciting, it's fast, because it's all about either risk.
Exciting? What is exciting?
Exciting, pursuing things under your own guidance, on your beliefs.
Pursuing
because
things
that's the only thing we're discussing.
We're talking about business. I'm talking about monkey business.
You have said that times have changed, right? We're not the same animals that our parents were. Do you think that some of these relationships happening in the office at this point in time are just situational? As in just because the two of you happen to be you're just starting a relationship, that is. You're just there.
Joey.
So why not?
Men are explorers by nature.
Oh, here we go.
Go ahead, Pastor.
The only thing we do is that when we go home, we bring back the manners.
But when you're outside of the home...
But when you are outside home, let's not pretend. You look, you talk, you joke. Some of the jokings that I joke when I'm outside my wife's presence, they make me healthy. When she is there, atanifungia nitakuwa na constipation.
So let's constipation. And you see, we're bringing it back.
How did you know what he was going to say?
Because he is a woman.
Exactly. And here's the thing. You know, I'm just listening to what Pastor is saying, which is just bringing it down. It's not about that. You need you to go and explore like your ideas, like you stifle risks. The risks you're talking about, when it comes down to it, is once you've secured your wife, okay? You have your family going. You want to be able to now go and just be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? I've got money. Look at me. You want someone to be able to inflate your ego and make you feel like you're super duper nova, yeah? And then when you come back, if you're working with your wife, then it sort of curtails that, you know, that...
it clips a lot.
Yeah.
It clips a lot, but not what you're talking about.
You're talking about not working together.
So you say once you're dogging, say dogging. So it's not hiding. Curtailing, going around in corners, going underneath bushes and behind. Dogging. No, that's not the reason that I don't want her there. The reason I don't want her there is so that she can be all she can be when she's not with me, and I can be all I can be when I'm not with her. If we're together in today's environment, what we're going to do is play safe bet. We'll not live to the fullest and make what we can make.
You don't think you will push each other to be the best versions of yourself?
No, you push each other to make each other comfortable. You will play a comfort game. Okay. I am telling you, the chances are you play a comfort game, which is not what has been shaped for today's world.
Well,
today's world is about taking risks, win or lose. There's no, let's just make sure we don't lose. Winning is not important. It's either one. You play for a win.
I want to take some comments from Twitter. And remember, if you are watching and would like to contribute to our conversation, the hashtag to use is Power Breakfast at Citizen TV Kenya. So we have Unga Revolution saying, I hate that. Men need space. The Ngosi says, just set terms and conditions as professionals and adhere to that.
Thank you.
So are you professionals? Are you lovers? Are you, like, where's
you're
the
professionals.
boundary?
When you're in the office, you're professionals. When you're pursuing your career, you're professionals. If for whatever reason, as long as you're in a business setting that's not home, you're professionals. That's it.
Okay.
I better have freedom than anything else in the world.
You see,
without freedom, you cannot be yourself.
That's my problem. You see here when you're talking here.
So when my wife is there and she's always on my neck, I don't have that.
You see, why do you assume that women are on your neck? Well, I mean, why do you assume that? Why don't you assume man is on your neck?
Freedom.
You know, it's not that Trump is building the biggest walls. You should see what relationships and women can build in a relationship. They've talked to you there clearly. The person made a statement there about setting clear boundaries. Those are we are not calling them boundaries. Those are called limitations.
Okay.
That's what I was going about. That the thing is, as you guys both pursue your own hustle, right? Then those boundaries don't need to be set. Those limitations don't have to be set, and you guys can both be all you can be.
All right, I have another comment here from Naomi Ngosi on Twitter using the hashtag #PowerBreakfast. She said, I worked in branding with my hubby for 10 years now, married for 13 years. When your vision is united, you achieve a lot, but he is still the boss at work.
Kaboom. You know, the most interesting thing,
I've not argued about success.
Can we just talk about the most interesting thing that's happening is, we live in you're talking about today's world, we live in a world where you can't now just have your main job. You have to have the job and you have to have a side business, because life has become super expensive. How are you going to buy unga if you're just on one job? So usually you find that couples, you have your job, I have my job, will start a business together.
That's different.
Now, it's not different. You still have to work together. You still have to, in fact, running a business is actually tougher than working in employment, because now all your resources are pulled together. You literally have to be the boss, the employee, the everything. And you, at the same time, have to work as a couple, respecting that. And these are businesses, these are the small businesses that are popping up across the country.
That's a different
these are people working together.
That I agree with. That one is totally different. When we're talking about us guys having a common interest, that's different.
But when
we're just together, us, we're the end all and be all, just seated in this room together. Do you know what the chances are? Joey, the fact is we're going to play it safe. You know why? Because this is all that is us. This existence here. There's none of you doing your thing, me doing my thing, and let's see where we win and where we lose.
Are you talking about employment?
Yes. Whether it's employment or ownership, I'm talking about ownership of business. We said, let's run away from employment because we seem to be having problems with that one.
Let's go back there. Let's go back there.
I'm talking about where the end all and be all is you guys together in that single business together. There's a lady who talked about the businesses that she's worked with a guy together and saying they've had a good relationship and all that. I've not said it's going to fail. What I'm saying is there's so much you're missing out of if you were separate.
Well, we also have to talk about what happens when failure does happen, especially in the case that you're employed. What about guys start being retrenched, and then both of you now are out of a job?
You see, that's why you play safe, because of such things. You see the guys have gone quiet. Ask them.
The Bible says...
I think you've gone to the Bible straight after being fired.
The family that prays together lives together or stays together, and they stay wrong. But not the family that works together. When it comes to work, I really pray God that my wife have her things. Like now, where she works, I have stayed for almost 1 year and 8 months. I've never gone to the shops. But I ask for money, and she asks for money from me. We know when one is having money. We don't have any problem with that. But when I'm driving to my work, when she is driving to her work, let her be alone. She give lift to anybody she feel like. I give lift to anybody I feel like. Let's have that freedom. What I'm fighting for here is that freedom. Otherwise, being together 24/7.
Look, you know, I'm just getting back. I'm just getting back to.
You're lucky that.
I'm just getting back to the fact that we are talking about the 21st century. We are talking about 2017. There are people who work from their laptops in their homes, never leave the house, 7 days a week. They're working in the house. So you find you are doing your business there, but you're working from the house. I'm also running my own online business. I'm working from the house. So you're telling me I need to leave the house because I need to save this marriage?
No, we are not working together. Everybody is working.
But you are
in his or her.
When we say we're working together, guys, we're not saying that your desk is here, my desk is here, and we are doing the same job, and we have no. I'm just saying you might work in the same company. You can work as Citizen. One person is in production, another person is in radio upstairs. You just come and everybody is doing their work. You don't have to see each other 24/7 as you're assuming. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, but we're saying your shared environment, your shared experience is what we're worried about.
You look. If someone is working in production there, someone is working in radio, what is your shared experience? That you work in the same building. Chances are you won't even run into each other.
Let me tell you, if there's that mad elephant that hits a building, we'll both know about it and won't have a story to share in the evening.
And, well, do you think that's the reason that marriages aren't lasting as long now, is that we aren't willing to spend that much time together?
Yeah.
We're just looking for the excitement and the drama and the gossip and all that we're not just basing it in just...
on sharing something together?
Yes.
No, that's not the reason they're breaking off. Because, as we're saying, is the reason they're breaking off is for the entire reason I said the problem is how we've changed. Our attention span. What easily grabs us or keeps us together is the fact that there's going to be something interesting that keeps us, uniting us together. That exchange has to constantly be there.
Which is what she's asking.
Now, the challenge is, as you're saying, is if we go for different things, there's a higher chance we'll have a lot to share. If we're together in the same environment, yes, there could be a chance that we'll stay together, get bored together, make our money together, but push on together for a long period of time. Yes, there's that opportunity.
Let me ask.
Right, but
when I mean, we're talking about marriage here, right? For example, your best friend, yeah? Forget even your partner, your best friend. Don't you want to see them every day? Like, don't you have stories to tell them every single moment? In fact, if you could live together, it would even be even better. Then you don't have to think about
just herself with that point.
The things that you're talking about. You want to, like, constantly be with this person. If that is not this, if like you don't feel like you need to run home to your spouse, or you feel like you need to meet them, I'm not saying that you have to be together 24/7, but like if you feel the need to constantly be away from them, and like you can't wait for Monday so that you can get in that car and drive off so I come back at 6 p.m, clearly there's a problem. And that's, you're creating an opening for you to go to the office and, you know, look at that skirt there, do this, do that. And where do most infidelity start from? Where?
Well,
why are you guys concentrating on infidelity?
Because that's what happened. You don't want to be. You don't want to.
I don't look at it. I don't look at it as.
She's been lying about making money. The only reason she wants to work with a guy is
to catch him cheating.
Yeah, to catch him. That's the only reason. Because she keeps going back to that point. I'm saying when you're dealing with a guy who's got no infidelity issues. The fact is,
okay, well, which one is that?
Seven of us.
Which one?
The top seven. Is that?
Oh,
the top seven.
We're
now we're six. We're not one of them left recently.
I don't see it. I don't see it in the side of infidelity. What I'm fighting for here is freedom. If you are being caught by City Council in this town and be thrown on that lorry for 5 minutes, you'll know the value of freedom.
So
and when you get out of that lorry, you'll avoid it the whole of your life. I can be with my wife. She is not talking to me, or she is not telling me you are doing bad or good, but her eyes are speaking louder than the mouth. And what I have done, I didn't have any issue, but she got it wrong. Because you can do a good thing and somebody get it in a wrong way. You see, these are small foxes that I'm trying to avoid, because they are going to destroy a vineyard when we are together.
So what about the issue of the competitive nature of each of you in that workplace? What if, like, for example, the two of you are working together, you're employed, she gets a promotion, maybe suddenly she's your boss or something like that? What does that bring in enough interest for you to stay? You know,
you see, now when you talk about competitive nature, I've said now what you end up happening is when you get in the same environment, you don't have healthy competitive experience.
Okay.
A competitive experience in a couple should be shared by us guys being in two different places and coming to share the competition we're facing with the world. But when it's against each other, of course that's negative, and that's why I'm saying for the animals we are today, as I said, today we are naturally competing. We're competing in life. To race, to jump, that's the animal we are. For us to enjoy that competition and to bring it to its best value, it will best be celebrated when it's done separately in today's environment. Had it been 30 years ago when we were sitting around a big pot of porridge yeah, as Sheila wanted us to do, then I wouldn't have a problem.
But Roy, you keep saying in today's environment, who's created that environment? You've created
Christ,
that. We all have. So
No,
which means
it
you can
time.
easily just revert back to however things
Hey,
were
no,
before.
Guys, there was no switch in your house that said switch on environment, change environment, switch on to high volume environment. You didn't just create it. It has occurred over time, over the last 5, 10, 15 years. What we're in today has taken time, and you're not going to change it in the next few seconds.
So you just accept the status
You now
quo.
just
This is the
model yourself to
environment.
suit the environment that you live in.
I
For the
honestly,
benefit.
I
am
honestly
telling
don't
you.
think you are a representation of majority of the couples out there, because there are a lot of couples who are in the office right now watching this, going like, what is this guy talking about?
I'm not saying it will fail, guys. Don't get that wrong. That's what I'm saying.
No. I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying,
You're saying it
according
won't
to
fail,
the
it will be
words
boring.
you're talking about, this scenario, this, the animals that we are today, don't put everybody in that bracket, because at the end of the day, for me, what I'm saying is, yes, it is possible to work with your spouse, and literally, there's so many benefits to it. If you've been looking at it like, I know, tutakosana nini nini, there's so many benefits to it, to work with your partner. Yes, there are disadvantages like what Pastor raised, but at the end of the day, there are major advantages in working together.
I don't argue. I don't
have an
fight with
argument
couple
where there's
working
100.
together. When they are working together, they have choked a lot of their freedom.
That's all.
You get that one. Let's get that in mind. Number 2, we are creators. When I'm working with you in the same company, and you as my wife, to get promotion, what do you think I'm going to create in my mind?
You tell me.
You are having a relationship.
What?
Look here.
Yeah.
Look here. You are having a relationship, and that's
With
what,
who?
with whoever
The
gave
owner
you
of the company.
It couldn't be a
Look
good.
here. Not everybody who thinks professionally.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are talking of being profession. Is everybody professional?
No. You've just said you're not. Me, I'm not going to join you in that.
No. So instead of me creating those evil minds and having bees in my bonnet, every time you get
Let me give
something
you
I
space.
say, yeah, let me give you space. Get promotion when I'm not there.
To wonder how you
Okay,
got the
guys,
promotion.
first of all, Joy, just like to just put a huge disclaimer. I
Go
don't know if you
ahead.
guys can put it on the TV, or I can just read it in word, sign language. I don't know what it is. Whenever we have an argument, and Sheila tells me, not everyone. An argument is not showing you what everyone is. It's about what would be the best ideal situation. I am saying in today's ideal environment, for today's environment, the ideal situation is separate. I have not said everyone.
Why is it
who's separate.
ideal? There are
Well,
people,
and I've told you why it's ideal.
there are
because
people
of,
who are working together,
there will be. There will always be.
and they're like a good
But I'm saying
majority.
the majority.
All right, some more comments from Twitter here. We have Apollo-Rama saying, mismentation must be there in marriage. You're not supposed to be together 24 hours.
Yeah.
The feelings will go down. Dominic Mwangi says, I enjoy all the space working with my wife. She enjoys so much that we are training our kids to partner with us. I see
There
no
we
big
go.
deal
Beautiful.
in this. Bengosi again here saying that life itself is simple, complications are man-made. All right. So what do you think about that? These guys are having such a good time working together. They're even going to get the kids involved. The whole
Yeah, that's
family.
okay. As I've said, I believe it will work. You know, you guys are confused on one thing. I think it will work. You know, when you have when I don't know, none of you might watch sports. I don't know which sports you play, and I'm not talking about relationship as a game, but I'm talking about in sports. There are different kinds of games, right? And today's game is about winning or losing. That's the kind of situation we're in. People want to win. Women wake up in the morning these days to win, right? Guys wake up to win, and they risk losing. A while back, women used to wake up to make sure they don't lose. That's our mothers used to just like them. They were not interested or driven about winning. They were different animals. And the two ladies seated here, I know, want to win every morning, every day. And I'm saying for that kind of an environment where it's about winning, go separate ways and everyone scores their win. When you're together trying to win, it gets a bit complicated.
You know, I just like to add on to Roy's point by dismantling it completely. I don't know which women you're referring to, especially when you say our mothers, because I was raised by career women, and in that same sphere, I do understand that times have changed, but when you're raised by a career woman who's still a family, you know, who's still aspiring to be a family woman, and still being a wife, and still being a partner, and still being a friend, she was not competing with anything at that point Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is people now have less patience. One of the points the guy raised there is miscementation must be there, otherwise you won't be able to, the love will end. What kind of love ends? What kind of love ends? That is not love. You now start digging. This issue is not about working together or competing or anything. It boils down to who have you chosen as your partner. As simple as that. You can get into a company and the lady, the boss is the CEO, like that, and that ends up being your wife. First, we're going to talk about how men sleep their way to the top, but the boss at the office ends up being your wife. So are you going to ask her to quit her job, or are you going to quit your job and go somewhere else? If that's what works for you, then do that. But I'd advise you, since you got into that company and your job is going well, find a way to make it work.
Exactly, and maybe we can talk about finding a way to make it work and the do's and don'ts if you find yourself in that situation where you are working with your spouse or your partner.
I think it's very small percentage who can bear doing that, and let's accept they are there.
Kama economy meaning mbaya, and that's the only job available, and the two of you find yourself
chopping one hand, I'll not die, but I'll have difficulties working with one hand. But when I'm having two of them, the work will be easier. So what I'm saying is, I can work with her if there is no otherwise. But if there is otherwise, I better work in
How many people are unemployed? How many people are unemployed? And you know, them listening and saying, oh, Mike, I don't, and maybe the only job that's available is at your wife's company, and she tells you to apply.
I will go there.
You won't apply?
I will apply.
You will apply. And you will work together.
He said when he's cornered, he just agreed to do that. He's cornered, he'll do it. When he's not cornered, given the choice, given the options, in today's world, the ideal one is separate. Everyone chases their goals, chases their ambitions. Let's come share those stories together. Let's celebrate the wins together. But in today's world, together is harder. I'm not saying that people who are not making it. That's why I'm giving big ups to all the couples that are keeping it going. It's much harder to work together and be that winning couple in terms of scoring against other people than the ones who are separate, doing two separate entities and coming to share those experiences together.
Well, what is so different between a business environment and a marriage? Because in a marriage, you're also doing the same thing. You're both trying to have this union succeed, which is the same thing you'd be doing in the office anyway. And
no, I think it's
a bit different in the sense.
Okay, explain to me the difference.
Because in the business environment, it's about losing and winning. What you're doing together is you're going to make efforts towards winning or gaining something. In the marriage, you're doing things to keep them in a controlled environment. So it's about not losing. It's about keeping it going. Are you getting me? The business one is a bit different because it's about we need to do certain things to jump ahead. And one of us will not want to do those things. One of us will not want to take those things. That's the divergence. But there's a lot of compromise, let's say, in marriage, but they need not be compromised in business. You're not
making any compromise in employment because, again,
there'll be a lot of compromise.
We bring it back down to this is the professional workplace. Do you want to see your wife succeed at all costs? You want her to be the best. Again, I'm not talking to those people who have, are keeping, or keeping score of what their wives are doing or whatever. I'm talking about those people who actually, you're in a union. You want to see this. She's gone to school. She's gone to university. She was top of her class. She's actually climbing the ranks fast at her employment. You want to encourage her to be the best version of herself. With that said, a woman like that will always want to encourage you to be the best version of yourself as a professional. This is not even to do with marriage. This is just a professional life. Then you bring it back home. Of course, she's inspiring you to be a better husband as well.
But in the business, what you're saying is, in the business, half of the time your mind will be on, when you're either cutting a deal, is on making sure that the same way you deal with a marriage, that it works out, that no one concerns, no one's unhappy by the decision we made. Rather than, is this decision going to make us win or lose, give or take whether someone gets pissed off. And I think when in a marriage, it would have been totally different. You see, that one, you have to make sure that we get out. Let's all get along.
Keep the peace.
Keep the peace. But in business, keeping the peace is not the whole ambition. The game is totally different.
You're
And
talking about
today is more ambitious.
You're talking about like the one, you know, like literally the 1% reason as to why I don't want to work with or get into business with my spouse. I'm going to advise people who are watching this show right now.
But one
if you're still thinking about that 1%, tutakosana, then you're really missing on a huge opportunity. Because even with friends, it's the same thing as getting into business with a sibling.
Okay.
You know you're going to kosana. Even with, they say don't mix business and family. You understand? But lots of big business, which I don't want to mention, big companies in this country are family run. Like the CEO is the father, the grandfather, and going down. These are family run businesses.
Okay, I want to talk way forward, so I'm going to give you each a minute to just go around and talk to people who are living that life. Like you said, they're probably watching us this morning.
Yeah.
And what are the do's and don'ts, you know, to avoid the jealousy and the drama from home to work and all of that?
Okay, when people are working together, number one, they should not have a blame game. You are the one who made this happen. You are the one who, you know, if you avoid that, then you can go far. Number two, if you avoid jealous when you are working together, again, that will lift you up. But I think, as per my opinion, we better not work together.
I'm just going to say, first, every single point that has been mentioned here is correct and is also wrong. The only determinant is this person that we're having a conversation about, your friend? Is this spouse of yours, partner of yours, someone you can, you know, sit down and tell them, you know, I was actually planning to invest in ABC. What do you think? And they'll tell you, no, you know, and not what do you think? Idea poor. No, like the market is like this. This, you know what? Have you talked to this kind of person? Have you spoken to the lawyers? You know what? Get into this, get into that. That kind of person, you need that person. You need that person to spur you on to the next level. But if this is the kind of person who says, Sweetie, I want to open a weave business. I weave. They say, leave that person out of. You don't need to be mixing business.
Not adding value. Roy, your comments?
First of all, I'd like to just say congratulations to all the couples that are actually making it work, because I think in today's environment, working together is much harder, as I said, than in a few years ago, because our parents was much more easier, people willing to accept it. Today's environment, business environment, is very aggressive. People are doing anything to get ahead. So if you're winning in that environment by working together, I give big ups to you, right? Given the choice, it is easier. It is easier. My problem is that there are a lot of controls that you get when you work together, because the fact is you have to keep a marriage and sustain a marriage. So the risks are going to be less, but also the losses will be less. Yeah. So there'll be a very controlled environment. That's the only risk, right? That's the only loss. If it's safe, of course it will be safe. So I respect the ones who are doing it, but in my opinion, honestly, you'll get more out of people going in their separate directions and contributing and sharing their experiences from those two different directions.
Okay, right? All right. On that note, we've got to wrap up the Man Cave on Power Breakfast this morning. I'm very happy to say that Willis will be back next week. So he'll be handling all of this. But thank you so much, Pastor Kuria, Sheila Kwamboka, Roy Karugiza, for your opinions. To everybody who's tweeted us as well, we appreciate you joining in on our conversation. On behalf of myself and Fred Indimuli, I want to say thank you for watching Power Breakfast. Kesho pia ni siku 6 a.m. Join us back here. We'll have more.